Welcome to Player Foundry. This video mainly aims to introduce me, my channel, and what we are going to be doing here. I'm Liam, and I've been creating games since I was 9 years old. I wrote my first game on an Amiga 600 back in 1996, and since then I have grown up, became a professional software engineer with 2 decades of experience in building software, leading teams, and bringing projects to completion. And I've enjoyed that success, but with it came a busy life and the death of any real opportunity to consider professionally building and releasing my own video game. This channel aims to remedy that by combining my software engineering experience with my never-ending side quest in game development. I am here to share what I've learned and continue learning right alongside you here on the channel. I aim to cover a lot of things, but let's start with the practical stuff. On the practical side, I do intend to cover multiple game engines, but I predominantly work within Unreal Engine myself, and that's where this channel will start. Within Unreal Engine, we'll focus on blueprint visual scripting to build out our various subsystems and game logic, which will be used to make our worlds come to life. We will also look at optimization. I see a lot of channels explain what optimization is, but I personally haven't been able to find a good series on how to actually do it. There will also be a lot of content on level design. This is a whole industry and career path unto itself, and it can make or break your game. We will be studying some great games from the past and present, and working out how they use layout, lighting, and environmental storytelling to build extremely rich storylines. Another practical skill we will look at here is the development of gameplay mechanics, specifically focusing on movement and physics within our 3D worlds, along with good UI or HUD design principles. We'll also look at various interactive systems that often go into building great games, such as dialogue, inventory, or quest systems. That's enough of the practical stuff though. I also want to talk about other things we'll cover, and one of those is the theoretical side of video game development. Theory is an aspect of developing video games that often takes a back seat, especially among budding indie game developers. People tend to jump right into building video games without taking the time to think or write up what can take a game idea and turn it into something truly brilliant. Some of the best video games we have ever seen have been extremely simple ideas, but have been executed so well that we often don't think about how basic the premise is. A lot goes into making truly great games, and because of this, I want to cover what I am calling the core principles of game design. One of the important things I want to teach you about is the MDA framework, which breaks game design into 3 interrelated elements: mechanics, the rules and systems that govern gameplay; dynamics, the emergent behavior from how players interact with those mechanics; and aesthetics, the emotional response and experiences that define the game. We'll be touching on these key concepts to show how great games engage players on multiple levels. We'll do multiple deep dives on narrative and storytelling in games to explore techniques for integrating compelling narratives and character development into gameplay without overshadowing interactive elements. There will be lessons on gameplay loops and progression systems to discuss how effective feedback loops, escalating challenges, and reward systems can be used to drive player engagement. Another topic I'll cover is user experience and interface design, analysing how control schemes, HUD design, and intuitive feedback contribute to a smooth and engaging player experience. And finally, we will also look at balancing and iterative design, basically to focus on the importance of playtesting, iteration, and balancing difficulty to refine game mechanics and maintain player interest. If you're more interested in the artwork side of game development, then this is still a good place to start. I'll be teaching 3D modeling with Blender. Despite being familiar with other tools, I specifically chose Blender because I wanted to make sure that people could follow along with the channel without spending a ton of money on tooling. And in our Blender studies, we'll do a deep dive on navigating Blender's user interface, and also then moving on to placing and transforming objects. We'll look at manipulating object data. We will begin learning to model basic 3D objects, and we'll move on to more complex features of Blender, such as hard surface modeling. All of this is happening as I embark on the journey to build my own game, which I may or may not unveil here at some point. We'll see. But drawing from my professional background and years of hobbyist development, I'll share honest insights, practical tips, and real world examples that bridge theory and practice. And with that, we're pretty much done with our introduction, but I do want to quickly go over the goals of this channel. I'm going to cover practical tutorials with Unreal Engine and maybe other engines someday. I'm going to provide theoretical insight on game design and development. I'm going to create content about asset creation in Blender, and all the while you'll be working alongside me as I build out my own game. And that's really it. If you're interested in the topic, please like and subscribe to the channel so that I know that people are actually out there and are interested in me making this. And thanks for listening.